with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, of course, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source. Of course, the great guys at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out Joe this past weekend with all the great posts that he made at LakersBall.com, especially when it talks about what's upcoming for the next series. So we're looking forward to checking that out at LakersBall.com. Plus, he runs a company. He's very busy with that. It's called Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. So go ahead, if you want your lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, go ahead and check out Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. MagicMan in the morning with the fresh new hairdo. There you go. Go ahead and check out what he's doing today each and every week at MagicMan in the morning. Right there for you at the Lakers Fast Break channel, wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also as well, we've got Lakerholics.com with Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet. Our good friend Stone Hansen at the Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast, John Mikaelian's YouTube channel, and more. So go ahead and check out what we're doing each and every week by liking and subscribing today right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Well, I'll tell you what, the storied season of up and downs still continues, and we're really looking forward to what's happening this week, because starting this week, it's the conference finals with the Denver Nuggets facing none other than the Los Angeles Lakers in what is going to be proving to be a stiff test for both teams as it heads to the Mile High City on Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Go ahead and be part of all the fun and all the action with us, unfiltered, right there for you at playback.tv. So that's Lakers Fast Break. And of course, the post game right here and all the good fun that we have. I know that we've had requests. Joshua, it's wanted to go ahead and ask if we could do more stuff during the earlier part of the day for all of our East Coast and around the world audience. So we're going to go ahead and try and see what we can do to accommodate that in the future. I'm going to go ahead and consult with my clean shaven, there you go, one of my associates and my brethren here at the Lakers Fast Break to see if we can do just that. Plus also as well, we got other great stuff planned for you in the future, including more shows, NBA observations, Lakers History 101. Do you know your Lakers trivia and more right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. But man, I'll tell you what, it is nervous time. It's now conference finals. The Lakers now up. Joe's not nervous, but I am. I'm always nervous. What can I say? When it comes to the Lakers, but I'll tell you what, heading into the Mile High City, we've been doing this now three rounds now. We're going in as the underdog. Once again, most of the experts picking Denver. So hopefully we can go ahead and change their minds once again. But I'll tell you what, a lot of great things to talk about. First man up, though, is first man here. Good man indeed, as the LakersBall.com area knows, he is the man behind Ox 1947. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here, my friend. Your thoughts, first off, I mean, obviously it centers around Nikola Jokic. How much is Anthony Davis going to be playing against him? Is it wise to have him man up all the time in Nikola Jokic, because will it get him too far out? Just so many questions now are pondering because of what Nikola Jokic can do, both on the offensive and a little bit on the defensive end as well.
It's funny how Jokic now is the greatest thing since sliced bread, yet you gave the MVP to a guy who was begging for it. You finally gave the child the candy.
What can I say? What can I say? They made a wrong move, and you saw how it ended up, and he had every opportunity to justify his MVP and did get it done.
No, I also think that he might have been injured still. So
yeah, that knee, I'll give you that.
That might have been a problem too. But
Harden's knee didn't hurt.
They're making Jokic look like Wilt Chamberlain at this point. It's starting to get kind of funny. They're so desperate to create this narrative that the Lakers are walking into this lion's den in Denver. Lakers have not lost on at home for, I think, since March 26th. Denver has been pretty good at home too. But Steve Kerr was 19-0 in the West since 2015, and we saw a few days ago what happened there.
Yep.
Whatever happens a week ago, yesterday, an hour ago means nothing. All that matters is I hope Denver's ready tomorrow night, because if they're not, they're going to see 1-0 at the end of the game. And if that happens, you are in deep doo-doo. And you can have all the Jokic's and all the Jamal Murray's in the world talking and showing whatever it is that they're showing. But at the end of the day, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and the rest of the Beatles have been smacking people around. And we've kind of come down on this Golden State series. But if you go back and analyze that series, Lakers dominated Golden State, and they dominated Memphis. And that was the best defense in the league and the best offense, at least that's what I think. And that's what I saw. Denver statistically has the best offense, but the deeper you get into this playoff run, the more that, tightens. So we're going to get a chance to see how good the altitude people get tomorrow night.
Definitely take a look at that indeed. But I'll tell you what, we're looking forward to it. Again, I still have my concerns about when it comes to Nikola Jokic, what he creates on the offensive end, especially because, of course, the dynamics with his passing and the fact that he can stay on the outside and control the whole offense from the outside and also go ahead and post up as well. So he's very multidimensional. To me, Joe, I will say before we get it to Sean, I think he is one of the best centers of all time. Okay, let's just put it out there. But I mean, defensively, no, I didn't say the defensively, but on the end, but on the offensive end, one of the best offensive centers of all time. No. Okay. I'm sorry. Tell me 10 better offensive centers than him.
He is the James Harden of centers at this point.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's harsh. Okay.
It's not harsh. James Harden was a offensive gem at the guard position, but the way the game is played right now is, I mean, come on, Jokic would have been destroyed by guys that actually played physical basketball. I saw a video today about how, I mean, this guy was a complete chump, and I don't want to give out and I don't want to give out his name, but he was wearing a Golden State hat, and he might have been trolling for all I know.
That starts.
He might have been. It's funny how those who maybe watch the games or they don't will manifest this thought that something's going on when it's not. He was making it out like Jokic was going to body up AD for a series, and AD is going to have a problem, right?
No, that's
because
mistake.
apparently Looney and all these guys in Memphis were not bodying him up. Triple J was not bodying up AD. What world have you been living in the last 3-4 weeks? Seriously, like Jokic is going to be bodying up. Jokic doesn't play defense. It's not his thing.
That's why I prefaced it with offensive.
Well, I'm sorry, Gerald. You can't be the great of anything if you don't play both sides of the floor. And I said this about Harden. Harden, besides his inability to come through in playoff time, you can't just play one side of the ball and have the word "great" on your resume. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna roll with that.
So all the MVPs and all the accolades he reserves is not worth nothing.
What is you're telling me he's in this one of the best? How is that
one of the best
when he only plays one side of the ball?
Okay, I'm just saying one of the best offensive centers. The key word is offensive. I didn't say one of the best centers. I said one of the best offensive centers.
Okay, I'll give him that. But yeah. I fear Jokic like I fear the Golden State like I feared the Golden State Warriors before we start playing them.
I don't expect him to post up. I don't expect him to post up much at all because that's a recipe for them for disaster because of the way that just allows AD to go down low. It's when he plays out at the top of the key and draws AD if AD's line up on it. That's the part because we saw a little bit of that in Golden State. The farther he gets away from the key, the less he's able to go ahead and be able to intimidate everyone that comes into the lane.
So Golden State tried to do that, bring AD. Gee, I didn't see that happening. Against guards, right? They try to switch it. They try to switch it up to where AD was guarding the guards.
Okay.
So I'm going to put one play in particular. Game 4, last minute of the game, AD is going toe-to-toe with arguably the best point guard of the last 30 years. You could even argue that you can even not argue it. Best point guard of the last 30 years. Not only once, but twice, AD was on him like glue, and both times resulted in a missed shot.
Well, not only that, AD dropped a 50 bomb on him.
Yeah, if he gets in foul trouble, it's over for them in Denver. Conversely, like with the Lakers, whichever big man gets in foul trouble, if either of them do, either team is in trouble. The Lakers may be able to handle it a little bit better than Denver, because you see they go to Aaron Gordon and then DeAndre Jordan or Thomas Bryant. Then it really gets, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel there with Aaron. Aaron Gordon has to play the 5, and like LeBron or Rui has to play the 5. But if the Lakers can get Jokic in foul trouble and attack him there and where he's weakest on the defensive end, that could be good for the Lakers. That could be really good for the Lakers.
There's only one thing that's going to stop the Lakers, and that's injuries. I'm not worried about Denver, and I'm not worried about Miami or the Celtics. I'm sorry, I'm not. The Lakers are locked in, and LeBron has paced himself in a very smart way these last 2 series. And this series might be a little bit easier. Granted, he has to get acclimated to the atmosphere. However, they always do. These are extraordinary athletes. And I've been to Colorado. The first hour is usually the problem. And LeBron reiterated that, where the first quarter or so is usually the hardest, not towards the end of the game. So I'm going to say one thing about Denver. You better do what Dallas did in 2011 against the Lakers, meaning make every shot and play really, really good defense every single minute of every quarter of these games. If you don't do that, you are going to get smoked. That's the only way Denver will win. They have to play perfect basketball. And that's all I can say. It could happen, absolutely, but not likely. Not on a healthy AD and a healthy LeBron. I'm sorry, I just don't see it right now. LeBron is 8 wins away from even higher immortality. He's 8 wins away from sitting and shoulder to shoulder with MJ, without anyone being able to argue it again. And anyone argues it should be sent out the room, because at that point their logic is out the window. AD is 8 wins away from having a statue outside the crypt, and possibly a Western Conference Final MVP and a Finals MVP. They have a lot to play for. And should they win, the story is remarkable. The story almost trumps all this other stuff.
Well, I think they match better against Boston than any team that's left in the out there of the 3.
True. I'd say they probably smoke Miami, but Boston will be if Tatum
AD Robert Williams on AD.
No, you're right on that.
That's 5 fouls right there.
True.
Yeah.
But if Tatum is playing like Steph Curry is, like he did this last game, let's say out of the 5 quarters, he played 3 like Steph Curry, where he wasn't missing a shot. Then there's a chance there where they can win a couple games. But we have a story here that we can tail into the summer. Sorry, Sean, I'm almost done here, so you can talk. We're going to tail into the summer, and we're never going to not have something to talk about. This is not even counting free agency or the draft, which is going to be fun in itself, by itself.
Oh, that's always.
We are talking about a redux of the 2020 season that everyone said was irrelevant, being proven that it was relevant. which is why I kind of a little bit want Miami to be in the finals, because I want that same scenario. But at the same time, if you ask me what's your best scenario, I want to beat Boston to get 18. It just would be too fitting. And beating them for the fourth time in 5 tries.
You wanted Boston, and that could be very well much a possibility.
Yes. So we're regardless of what ends up happening, boy, did we get a treat here. Did we get a treat to end the season? But boy, it would still sting if we don't win it all. We win this title. I don't think I'm ever really going to have. I don't think I'm going to be on the negative side for a very long time. I think this would solidify a lot of things.
Well, the only thing I say in regards to that, and I'll go ahead and turn over to Sean here in a second, is that when it comes to what we're seeing with the Lakers, I wanted to go ahead and mention that Mo Bamba has seen I guess a foot specialist in regards to his ankle. He is still, as of right now, listed as out. He may be upgraded to doubtful, but as of now, earlier today, he is still listed as out. So we don't know when or if he's going to return. He is supposed to be flying to Denver after he sees this foot specialist, or could he be actually in Denver right now? But we don't know his status 100%. But right now, according to what they've seen, what they've said, that of course LeBron and AD are most likely going to play. Of course, that they're listed as very much probable, and then of course Bamba is still listed out. So if it changes, go ahead and check out us at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, and we'll give you the update there. Or if we have a preview right before the game, we'll go ahead and make sure you know that as well before the lottery as well, because I know we all want to check out the lottery. But when it comes to what you were saying, Joe, and I'm going to turn it over to Magic here in a sec, I want to let you know that with LeBron, though, we can't say that, oh, yeah, it's been a great season, because LeBron is 38. His window is closing a lot faster than other players. Yes, I know we could play 3 or 4 more seasons, but we don't know how much more at this level. So any ground that we can make up now, any championships we can earn and win now, it's just absolutely necessary to go ahead and do so anytime you can.
2, I mean, 1 has done it. 1 has done it, but 2 is
that much better.
2 is iconic times 2.
Absolutely.
LeBron winning 2 in Miami, 2 in LA, 1 in Cleveland, and for a lot of people in Cleveland, that's like having 3, right? LeBron being a multiple champion as a king, self-proclaimed king in purple and gold is just too fitting. It's too fitting. And there's so many puns you're getting out of this. It's just what it is. It would solidify everything. There's nothing you could say and you'd have to defend him. I haven't defended LeBron all the time because there's certain things in his game that have bothered me. But he's been unbelievable throughout this whole process. And you have to give the guy credit. You have to give him credit at this point, even though you should have it already. But it's just 20 years, 5 championships to this late in his career. You have to give the man not only his flowers, but you got to give him the bouquet, the wedding, the chocolates, everything.
We'll see what happens indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Good Man Indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out as Magic Man in the morning every single week right here at the Lakers Fast Break. I do also want to mention that we are now 650 subscribers strong. So thank you so much for going in and supporting us for our 700 episodes, which we now have available. Spotify did notify me, say, hey, Gerald, you're actually not on 699. You're 700 episodes down. And obviously, it's all because of you. Thank you so much again for your support. But here today, Good Man Indeed. He's the man from Toronto. He just can't get out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and just, weigh his thoughts in on the actual game itself. It is Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, I'm just going to turn you off here real quick until I get you the answer, because it's a little bit of an echo there. So I wanted to go ahead and ask you, my friend, when it comes to this series, when it comes to the conference finals, again, I think that Joe, what he said was very sound. I still, Nikola Jokic, on the offensive end, though, how he can manipulate an offense and basically set the tone for many ways, in many ways possible, with both of his shooting and his passing ability, should make anyone a little bit, as far as wary of where he's at all times. But it all comes down to this, my friend. If the Lakers go ahead and make sure that they have a outstanding transition game like they did in game 6 against Golden State, and they get to a line bunch more than Denver, like they have pretty much most of the series that they've been in, and most of the games that they've been in. In fact, we obviously have said on the show how much more they've shot, and as far as from the free throw line, than their opponents. If they can continue to do that, they will win this series, no doubt about that.
I agree. I agree that I would also add that Denver is a very poor interior defensive team, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
You can cut them up pretty good if you really start rolling. So their two weaknesses are transition defense and screen and roll defense, Gerald. They're both terribly bad at both of those. And it just so happens we have LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves, who can basically thousand cut you to death with screen and rolls now. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Like you said, if they stick with that game plan, um, you know, again, like Joe is saying, you were saying, when you first get out there, when you start running, yeah, of course, with the altitude, it's decreased oxygen, so your heart's working faster. But I think the key is, when you start slowing down with, and you're feeling fatigued, that's when things really start to go haywire. So if you can maintain your composure for the first 10-15 minutes, um, you give yourself a chance. And LeBron was correct. Like, and here's the really interesting part about Denver. They're an anomaly in his career. He's 20-20 against them. They're the only franchise he has a 500 record against. So it's interesting phenomenon there. Anthony Davis has a history with Nikola Jokic that goes back to his New Orleans days. He hasn't put 50 on him as a Laker. That's a possibility, though. He's put 50 on him before when he was with the Pelicans. He's put 40 on Jokic before. We've seen that, Gerald. We've seen him put 30 on him before consistently.
Mm-hmm.
His averages are 25-10, 3 blocks against this guy. Gerald, we know that Jokic, as Kirk Goldsberry, who's one of my favorite NBA analysts, has pointed out that since the introduction of tracking, Jokic is the worst defender at the rim in the history of tracking contests and rim protection. So he is an awful defender, as opposed to his, like you said, his magnificent offensive repertoire. He can pull it all out you. We saw he put 53 points up on Phoenix. So if he wants to put 53 points up on the Lakers every night, salut. I'll live with that, because that means he's not facilitating and not controlling the pace of the game, at least on the surface of it. That's what it would appear to be to me, Gerald. It'd be like Steph Curry averaging 50, although it's very different, right? The offenses are very different, as opposed to being more Steph's central nervous system, and you put shooters around him and length. And then with Jokic, you need to put athletes around him, and you need to put security blankets almost everywhere on the perimeter defensively in order to compensate for his just sheer lack of, it's not awareness, it's just he's not a vertical defender. Never was, never will be. The best he's averaged is less than 1 block for a year, 0.9. Hasn't even averaged more than 1 block. So AD can consistently impose his will on him if he wants offensively. It's just, will he again decide to just do it? Because we saw what happened in the 5 games they played, Gerald.
Yep.
So I think that, if the Lakers really run a train on them as far as transition is concerned, and with the screen and roll and pick and roll game, I think that it'll be a short series.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, the madman from Toronto, to go ahead and get out of Toronto traffic right there for you, along with Mr. Joe Soro from LakersBall.com. And Joe, one of the things I wanted to ask, because you talked about LeBron so much, is about after what we saw. I said in the last series, we needed to finish off the series with the LeBron superstar performance. And that's exactly what we got in Game 6. Finally been waiting the whole playoffs for it. And I'm so happy that we finally did. Your thoughts, though? LeBron is going to be guarded by any one number of guys from
Aaron
KCP.
Gordon.
Well, they've been talking KCP, Aaron Gordon, MPJ, Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, any one of those guys.
Jeff Green, maybe.
Christian Brown.
Aaron Gordon has been playing good defense as of late. I believe he's going to be taking the main assignment. Hoarder, they're going to want him to be fresh to hit those open shots. He's probably the X factor for Denver. He needs to hit those open shots. If he doesn't, it'll be a big, quick series because of that. Jamal Murray is still hampered a little bit from the injury. I don't know if he'll ever be the same guy he was in 2020, but there is some hindrance there. Jokic is going to have to turn into Wilt or Kareem in this series to win the game.
If you could get them on switches where Braun's on Murray.
It's just, I refuse to believe that a team that struggles to deal with any pick and roll defense or a fast break defense is going to be a threat to the Lakers.
They just have small guards. Like Bruce Brown is small, Jamal Murray is small, Christian Brown is small. Our guards are bigger than their guards. So,
and Reeves can control the ball. You're going to get a chance to see him do his and one gig a lot in this series, and there's going to be a lot of this.
I hope so.
Okay,
I'm him.
You have a problem. You have a problem against the Lakers, Denver. You do have a problem because your deficiencies are astronomically positive for the Lakers in terms of the reverse side of that. The Lakers are going to have to not play well for this not to go well. If they play well, there's just no way they're not winning the series. I don't know I don't know how else to look at it. Everyone's going to have to play defense like they've never played defense before. I'm talking about Denver. They're going to have to be able to tire out AD or get AD in a funk, and you're going to have to control LeBron, okay? Are you going to be able to stop a freight train when he goes to the hole? Can you force him to shoot threes? Probably. Yeah, you could stop him that way. But then you got to also deal with the other guys. You got to deal with D'Lo. D'Lo is going to get open shots. He's going to hit those shots. At least half the series, and then you'll have Austin Reeves doing his thing.
Please preface that as half the series, not the full thing.
Well, again, you did a lot of the reasons why I think he struggled in certain times was this is a rhythm game, and he's a rhythm player. Once he gets out of his funk, a lot of times it's difficult to get back in it. He doesn't have that capability to turn it on.
That's where you hope a guy like Schroeder or Rui.
Schroeder. I mean, you have the perfect, other than a backup center, you virtually have, and of course having Caruso back does help. You have pretty much the perfect team for an AD LeBron team. You have guys that pick their spots in each game. One day it's Schroeder, one day it's Reeves, one day it's D'Angelo, one day it's Lonnie. Yeah. Somebody comes through, and a lot of that is because the system is created so that people are paying attention to AD and LeBron. And then if you have another guy that's playing well, now you have to kind of pick your poison. and our role plays have been coming through.
For most of the time, there has been a couple occasions where, as we saw up in Golden State in Game 5.
Yeah, up in Golden State, everybody role players don't historically play well on the road. It's just
But Joe, we come to a situation again, my friend, where we're going to be on the road more than we are at home. So I ask you, my friend, somebody's got to step up in the next 2 games. We need to get a split leaving Denver.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Game 1 or Game 2. Prefer it to be Game 1 because as soon as you win Game 1, Denver is going to get really tight. And this team, if they're tight, it wouldn't be a surprise if the Lakers took the first 2 games. Don't be surprised. Golden State, didn't see it happening. I kind of felt like Golden State was going to win Game 2. Memphis, there's 2 seed. They were going to win Game 2. Denver, yes, they are a 1 seed, but we're in the Western Conference Finals now. The pressure, just like the altitude, is immense. And LeBron and AD are already champions. They know what it takes to win, and they've already beaten you before. You are going to have to come up with something else. You are going to have to come with something else. There's no other way to look at it, because in a lot of ways, this team is actually better than the 2020 team. There are a lot of things that they're better at, and a lot of it is geared towards what Denver is really bad at, which is what Sean talked about.
And like everybody else, I don't want to hear any more about this bubble, excuses.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Now, I don't care, like in the general terms, but it's just like anything else. You keep hearing it, and you're just like, shut up.
All 4 bubble teams are back.
It is extremely imperative if in terms of trying to solidify even more that 2020 situation, not the playoff run, just the situation, to where once things finally settled after 2 seasons, the 3rd season since that year, you have the exact same teams in this spot. So if you have the Lakers win and Miami win, you and of course if the Lakers beat Miami, you have validated without, just like LeBron would be validated without argument. There's nothing else to say. You cannot have a coherent argument either way. You just can't. What are you going to say? Well, it's 2023. It's an odd year. That's why. No, F you. Okay, now you've got nothing. Now go away.
Well, again,
the whole narrative is just so absurd. It makes me sad, Gerald. It makes me sad that people are so stupid, and then that makes me kind of want to cry. That
been saying here for years, we won the championship. It's the legit championship. Deal with it. May have been under different circumstances than normal, but the world was going through a lot at that period of time, and there was a lot on the minds of those players being taken away from their families and being, for the most part.
Oh, poor guys! They're
until
millionaires. They have to stay in a bubble for 2 months.
But again, there should be no discounting that championship or any success that either of those 4 teams had in getting
what
to
a
where
life they live. I'm so sad for them.
So let's settle this once and for all, okay?
Please.
So there was a meeting, and they could have decided then to bail out on the whole thing. Yep, let's just bail out. It's a whole kit and caboodle, Gerald. Big dog and pony show. And 2 teams said that no, we want out. And the leadership of those 2 teams was the LA Clippers and the LA Lakers. But everyone else wanted to stay. So LeBron and the Lakers stayed. And yet the Clippers are the ones who didn't make it out, Gerald. And there's just this immense, absurd, illogical whining that goes on with all this BS. And as you said, it's completely legitimate. It was legitimate then. It was legitimate 6 months later. It's legitimate now. And all this does is prove the point that you morons just need to sit and grit your teeth and go back in your mama's basement and just deal with it.
I'll tell you what, though, a lot to look forward to now as, again, all 4 teams for those bubbles return to their respective conference championships right now. The conference finals, the Lakers and the Nuggets, it starts tomorrow, 5:30. Please join us at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for all the fun. And hopefully starting off with a great win in game 1. Looking forward to it. Joe, when it comes to some of the X factors for the Lakers and the Nuggets, again, for the Nuggets, it just, to me, I think it's been on Murray and how well or not so well he will perform in the series. I think a lot keys on him. MPJ, I think he'll come and go. I think that's pretty much has been his MO as far as the way, as far as that's concerned. They don't rely on him, and they just feel like when they get extra from him, I think that's a bonus for them. But Murray is someone that they rely on heavily for offense outside of Jokic. I think if the Lakers can go ahead and make his life very difficult, I think it just makes it that much easier for the Los Angeles Lakers.
It's more going to be. I know it's an extraordinary setup here where you have a 7 seed playing a 1 seed. The Lakers are the team that actually will control this tempo. Denver is going to have to snatch that away from them for them to control the series. Whatever I see in Denver's favor tomorrow or the rest of the series will be something new. It will be something new. I've watched them play. I picked them to go to the finals. You did as well. I'm not trying to downgrade the Denver team.
I said they would win the regular season. I actually picked the Drippers, which.
That's right. That's why you got mad at us that one time. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I picked Denver.
The paper drippers, because they looked so good on paper, but then they actually played games.
They've never really looked good. They had a small little window in 2020, and they took a nice.
But they all decided to take a season off.
They took a nice fat dump on themselves because Paul George was too concerned about having
and picked up Westbrook,
having girls in his room versus trying to win a championship.
How'd that work out for them?
Well, it worked out that Denver came back.
1, 2, 3 Cancun for the Clippers.
Well, they probably were happy to go to Cancun after the season. That's
LA
what they're probably
strippers?
thinking about. That's an insult to strippers, in my opinion, but that's a good name.
That's such a weird combination, isn't it? His fascination with fishing and strippers, like that. Those two, like I don't know. I've fished my fair share in my 38 years, Joe. Never met anybody out there on the lake that went to the strip club much that night. So that's really interesting. Yeah, I'm suspect of that. I'll just say that.
I'll tell you what, though, I do want to say real quickly, they touched on it heavily on last night's show, Joe. As far as the firing of the coaches, there's no loyalty to these coaches. You can win a championship 2 years down the line, you're gone. There's absolutely no loyalty to these coaches. We saw with Monty Williams, Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, you name it. Yeah, they have just a finite lifespan now as the coaches. I don't know if we'll ever see like in Miami or in San Antonio where a coach stays that long again. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Budenholzer was fired because he was stubborn, and I heard Eddie Johnson. He does a show on Sirius XM Radio on the NBA channel with Justin Termini, and he had mentioned how there are certain things sometimes coaches do that they're so stubborn that they are a detriment to the game, to the actual game. I think Budenholzer was stubborn in not putting Giannis on Jimmy Butler. This is a guy who's won Defensive Player of the Year, right? This is supposed to be a guy that's freakishly long and can play defense. But for some reason, Bud did not make that adjustment. I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I think that had a lot to do with why he got fired. It wasn't so much, oh well, this is a guy that's guided teams to best records, but when you have a generational player like that, and you have an opportunity to win multiple championships, and you don't, that's a detriment to the team. Monty Williams, I can comfortably say that was a firing because there's a new ownership, and the new ownership wants, just like when you hire a new general manager, they just want to start, fresh. So that sort of makes sense. Nick Nurse is kind of a puzzle to me. Majuri's I've never been a fan of his. I know he had one of those genie in a bottle type things in 2019 when he got Leonard and they won a title, but I think he's highly overrated. I think he's too emotional for my taste. And Nick Nurse is one of the really, really good up and coming coaches. He just got here. And the fact that you got rid of him, this doesn't make any sense to me, especially when you have guys like Fred VanVleet, who I don't even know if those guys are going to be coming back or are really would be considered a superstar to let go, because like, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get to replace Nick Nurse in Toronto?
They're just rotating, my friend. They're just rotating.
That did not make any sense to me at all. Like, I don't understand that guy is a really, really good coach. He just get him guys, get him somebody to come up to Toronto. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell that was about, but not surprised though. Again, Majuri's always I always kind of felt there's a little bit of they pumped him up after they won the title like he was Jerry West. I'm like, he's not Bob Myers. He's not Jerry West. What's the hard on with this guy? I don't get it.
And then Gold State might be letting go of,
Myers might be. I think Bob. This goes back to more of just like when Jerry West finally got tired, right? I mean, I know Phil Jackson helped push him out the door a little bit with the stress, but at some point there is that moment where you're like, you know what? I think I'm ready to do something else. Not everybody's going to be like Pop. But I think
And Bob Myers also got to remember the salary cap and the way that the new CBA.
Sure,
he's doing
what Bob Iger. In a lot of ways, he's doing what Bob Iger did before COVID hit. But a lot of these CEOs, I'm not saying Bob Myers is that bad. He's already kind of proven what he's done, and he's leaving because
you can't build that team. You can't fix that team because they'll be in cap hell.
Absolutely, but Bob Iger and a lot of these top-notch CEOs bailed on their companies because they didn't want to deal with the backlash of what was about to come. They cowardly ran off until the dust settled. Then they came back crawling like the cockroaches they are. I don't see Bob Myers as that. I just think Bob Myers has had a nice run, and I think it's time that maybe he wants to go rest for a year or two and enjoy his life
or a different challenge.
True, and he'll have jobs waiting for him. So I think that's playing a huge part there. Plus, I don't think I'd want to live in San Francisco no matter how much money I had. That place is a freaking toilet, literally a toilet. But that's a discussion for another time.
Burn that bridge.
Yeah,
pardon the pun.
Well, it is what it is. I've been there a few times, and it's not good. But coaches have always been looked on as second tier to anything. Quinn Snyder got fired out of Utah, even though. He's a good coach, and then now he's in Atlanta. And then as soon as Trae Young gets mad at him because he gets yelled at by Quinn for one of these practices, then he's going to cry to management about how mean Quinn Snyder is. But you can't replace Trae Young. That's the problem. You can't replace Giannis. You can't replace the stars of these teams. You can replace a coach because they don't make as much, and people go to see these guys above any coach. I've never heard in my life anyone go to a game because Greg Popovich is coaching or Phil Jackson's coaching as great as they are. So anyone else below them, it's just not that important. The ratings, I don't know if for some reason I didn't see the post up on our screen. I saw it on my phone, but the second round ratings for the Lakers Golden State Warriors was extremely high. I believe it was the highest since 2011. Um, so LeBron and Curry move the needle, and that's doesn't seem like it's ever going to change.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We're going to be back previewing, of course, game one and the series in total between the Lakers and the Nuggets. Sean, I want to ask you this. When it comes to what you're seeing with the series, we talked about an X factor being, for me, Murray. MPJ, I just don't think he's going to be consistent enough through a 7-game series. I know he'll have his spots when he gets hot, and you got to bear through that when that happens. But I think Murray is going to be the main X factor for the Nuggets. For the Lakers, I think the main X factor has to be Austin Reeves, in my opinion. Again, like MPJ, I don't think you'll get the same kind of consistency from D'Angelo Russell as we've seen. It's a roller coaster ride, even within the same game. So, your thoughts on this, my friend, as far as an X factor for both teams? Your thoughts on this?
I'd agree with you, Gerald. I'd also add a little footnote. I also think that you're going to need a game similar to what you had in Memphis, where Rui is just blazing
Agreed.
hot from deep.
Agreed.
That's there's an opportunity that Denver's going to place on him to make open shots, and Gerald, I'm confident he can make them consistently. So I think that's definitely been something he's been working on. But I think you're right. I think ultimately, if Austin Reeves is able to assert himself, because yeah, Gerald, outside of the injury, other than like the experience and Murray's performances, 50-point games, and that, I would still say that's a very good matchup for Austin Reeves to show his stuff off, Gerald. I really do. I think you're right. I think that's an X factor. If he outplays Murray, he doesn't have to outplay him 4 out of 7 times, Gerald, but all Austin needs to do is outplay him twice, 3 times, and that's enough, because we've seen the kind of cushioning that role players like Austin or D'Angelo plus Rui provide for LeBron and AD.
One thing I do want to ask you guys before we leave, and this is going to be the fun part of the conversation.
Oh,
Once
Gerald,
again,
I just
go ahead.
wanted to add something on to
Of
the
course.
conversation about Monty Williams. I think he's going to have his choice. He's going to have the Milwaukee Bucks in one hand and the Toronto Raptors in the other. And he's going to decide which team he's going to coach.
He may want to just sit out because, again, he has 3 years left on his contract.
Exactly, Gerald. That's another fly in the ointment as far as he's concerned. He's a single father. He has a family he's still raising. He might not want to uproot them again to somewhere new, and he may want to take the year off. That's true as well. Plus the tenuous situation with Giannis and his contract situation. He's not even going to discuss negotiations with the Bucks, so that's something that's a shadow over any kind of contract talk. So yeah, it's an actual phrase, Joe. It's an actual phrase.
Reggae Joe.
I didn't go to community college, sir. No, I'm not going to. I went to a scholastic school, sir.
Okay. Well, I went,
My
for
grandmother was an
college.
English teacher. She demanded that we speak proper English and use proper grammar.
Okay. Fair enough. Joe, getting back to after the English lesson there, I do want to say,
Except
though, that
on playback.
From Canada, too. English lesson from Canada. You can't get better than that.
The English language seems to get kicked out of the building.
I speak Canadian. I don't speak
I'm not hearing
English.
it. Speaking Canada.
Okay. All right. Before we head on out, guys, I want to go ahead and ask you real quick. This is the fun part of the episode because I've been seeing it all along streaming on the best chat room that's out there, Lakers Fast Break. Although there are times, guys, where I do kind of question the sanity of our chat when they goes as far as the backup center is concerned. Because, again, I've stated Mo Bamba is out as of now. He did go see a specialist, and he has flown over since to Denver, but he is still listed as out. He might be upgraded to doubtful, but as of now, still out. So that means the Lakers need to find alternatives as backup center. The name I've heard and read more times than I can count already in this chat, Joe and Sean, is one Tristan Kardashian Thompson. So I ask you, my friends, if it gets to the point where the Rui LeBron at 5 and Wenyan Gabriel at the 5 are not working out, what does that tell you if we have to go ahead and go to Tristan Kardashian Thompson? Joe?
It's not going to happen, guys. Thompson is J.R. Smith of 2023. He is a support system. He is a veteran guy that's playing the Udonis Haslem role. That's it. He's not going to play, guys.
Did we actually see how bad he looked in the garbage time?
It's not even fair to say that he's playing bad. This guy hasn't played in 2 years. It doesn't matter to discuss how bad he is. We all know he's bad. He would only play as if everyone got hurt. That's it, and there was no choice. That's just not going to happen, guys. The Lakers are going to play a very similar setup that they had against Golden State. And that's all you can do. There's really nothing else you can do. You're going to have to roll with AD, and that's okay. It's okay to have AD playing 38 to 40 minutes in a playoff game in the Western Conference and in the finals. That's what you're there for. What I would like is LeBron to play 32 minutes and to 32 to 35 if possible, because you save him for the long run for the next month as well. That's the only thing. That's the only minutes restriction I'm hoping for. Other than that, everyone else is young. Everyone else should be ready to play, and let's go.
Let me ask you this, because he was such a great meme that we posted as far as the shorts and all over social media. Your choice, Tristan Thompson or Nerlens Noel?
I said I'd rather play 4-on-5 than have Nerlens Noel on this team. So you know that answer.
I know, but I love asking.
I have not liked Nerlens Noel since he was in college.
Okay.
He's the Jamarcus Russell of basketball to me.
Okay.
I never liked his game. Never liked his just demeanor and aura. Just seemed like a guy that just, you're around people enough, you can gauge things usually within 5 to 10 seconds. Now, it's not fair to say that to everyone, but most. All I need is 5 to 10 seconds. I could just see mannerisms, and 99% of the time, you know what it is.
Okay.
And he proved it. He proved the personality right. Ball players, some guys just veer off. Ever since Darren Williams was on course to be a Hall of Fame point guard.
On the same level as Chris Paul.
Who owned Chris Paul.
I actually was on Team D Will over,
and he went away.
Three, yeah.
He just died, not literally died. And what the hell happened to Darren Williams?
He had those issues with Sloan. Brooklyn. Yeah, because he and Sloan couldn't get together.
It was eerily similar to Sean Kemp's career, but a little bit worse.
Sean Kemp just
Kemp was Sean Kemp was as freakish.
The lockout killed Sean Kemp's career because he couldn't remain in basketball shape.
Yeah, that's what I
believe that the contract at Seattle was what ruined him. He should never have left Seattle.
The lockout, Joe. He sat around. He sat around and he ate a lot, man. He's even talked about that.
Yeah, it's
true.
Tragic.
You're right though. That contract was a problem. And you're right, Joe. No, Joe's got a point there that it's, there's equal 50-50 there. He talked about how the lockout ruined his discipline. It gave him discipline coming to the gym every day. So he couldn't do that anymore. But that's a great comparison, Joe.
The lockout was only two freaking months. Jesus, how much more discipline did you need?
Well,
It's
Hang
a
out
lot
2
more than
months.
that.
I don't even want to think about the kind of caloric intake you need to have when you're 6'10".
It wasn't that man, all the way.
240.
It was the fact that he was a baby machine,
Yeah,
baby
that's
making
it.
machine. I think that the stress of that probably ruined him.
Well, that too.
All that cortisol,
Well,
the
DMX.
dopamine.
Well, Joe, DMX burned twice as much cortisol because he
All
took
right, all
crack.
right, all right. Let's cut off the Nick Cannon jokes here. All right, but before we head on out, my friend Magic Man, can
How'd you
you
get
tell
from
us,
Nick Cannon to DMX?
because he has a lot of kids, just like what we talked about with
I
Sean.
didn't. We didn't mention Nick Cannon.
Simmons.
You did.
But you were probably leaning in that
No,
direction.
you mentioned Nick Cannon.
All right,
We
because
were
he's
talking
all
about
over the news
DMX.
talking about how many kids he has.
No.
and how many
I'm
hundreds
not
of
letting
millions
you
of
off
dollars
this
he's gotta
one.
make.
No. You assumed, and then you put things in.
I assumed,
You
and I
put it
said
on when we didn't say anything.
all right.
So
Okay,
therefore, I'm the host now. I will lead.
now you can kiss my butt on that one. So before we head on out, Magic Man, and people think that we're like this just because of the show. Check out our emails; you see differently. Magic Man, before we head on out, the yawning dog. I wanted to go ahead and ask.
Email never stopped me from talking.
That's for sure.
Email never blocked my talk.
If you see Tristan Thompson running out there on the court, what is your exact mood on playback? How many expletives will you go ahead and utter?
It would be. I wouldn't utter anything. It'd mean the Lakers are blowing the team out.
I hope so. For God's sakes, I hope so.
I got to be honest, Gerald. I once dated a woman who had a very just say enriched German background, and
Okay.
so even when those people are trying to be romantic, the language sounds rough. So I would definitely have to empty the tank as far as every expletive in English, French, and German if I see Tristan Thompson out on the court playing any significant minutes.
In like the second quarter or first quarter, something like that, where you would normally see a Wenyan Gabriel. Correct.
Yes. And let me tell you something about the German language. It's rough.
It is. It is.
It's rough, man.
My dad spoke a little German. Yeah, I can hear you on that one.
Great food. Great
Yes,
food,
yes.
but the language is rough.
Oh, but yeah, great people that I've known as far as the from as far as what I said as far as the food, like you said, excellent.
Oh
food.
yeah, German grub
Yeah.
is great.
Yes. Can't agree with you more on that. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out? I'm so excited for this series, man.
I am too. I am less nervous about this series than I was even the Golden State series, just because I think the stress won't be as vigorous. That doesn't mean that Denver is not formidable and they couldn't win the series, but I just don't feel that the Lakers are going to be on high anxiety with this team. Jokic, as dominant as he's been this last few years, he's not scary. He's not scary. He's just not, especially when you have AD doing his thing. So with that, I'm looking forward to 5:30 Pacific time tomorrow, and hoping that by this time tomorrow we're looking at a 1-0 series in favor of the Lakers.
I'm feeling like a Bavarian pretzel right now. That's all I'll say. But yeah, there you go. With
Yeah,
lots of nice mustard.
I had a good meal tonight. I had some really good. I had Mondays are pretty active in terms of work. I had a very good meal, the kind of meal that adds stuff to the muscles so the muscles get big and doesn't put excess stuff on there. So yeah, very, very content on that end. But pretzels and that kind of stuff, that's a no-go for a while. I'll get back there probably towards Halloween time. But right now, there's some goals that need to be reached, and I'm looking forward to reaching them.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Please join us on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. West Coast time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, where we go ahead and follow the game right there for you, uncut, unfiltered. You get to hear all of us from myself, Magic Man, Joe Soro, Stone Hansen, Laker Nick. Always a great time. Even John Mikaelian showed up for game 6 on that one. So go ahead and check us out for playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Then, of course, the post game right here for you at Lakers Fast Break as well. The best chat room that's out there. We'll even try and see if we can sneak in a snack pack. I know Magic Man, I was asked to ask you or whoever we can come out as far as the panelists to see if they can
Yep.
start shows and do some shows every now and then to go ahead and accommodate our East Coast audience and around the world as well. I mean, Magic Man in the morning's great, but they want more, man. They want more.
I know I'm gonna have to. You gotta give the people what they want, Gerald. So we're gonna just have to give them more.
There you go. Absolutely. More indeed. We'll see if we can do also maybe a last minute preview. I think it's probably actually since the lottery is going to take place beforehand, we'll probably do it sometime in the 4 o'clock hour. So we'll go ahead and
Do
go
you
from
have any
there.
predictions on the lottery, Gerald? What's your gut telling you?
Well, if there's long as there's no frozen envelopes and the Knicks aren't involved, I'd say San Antonio get it. San Antonio seems
You
to win the
still think
lottery.
the Knicks rigged that, or David Stern
No,
rigged that?
that's I don't think so. I don't think but you know that old wives' tale. Everybody still thinks that. You know, there are conspiracy theorists out there who
And
will
and
just
and
live
that
and
and
die
there
off
and
that.
that's a logical fallacy that somebody starts with a conclusion at the beginning of something, and you can it's not as if that could be disproven, but it's so ridiculous to even entertain.
You're right. I just again, I don't think there's going to be any frozen envelopes or whatnot. But I think San Antonio with Pop, always seem to have the luck whenever they are
Yes,
down. They just go ahead and get a number 1 draft pick, David Robinson, Tim Duncan. Hey, there you go.
yes,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely, Gerald. It seems like it's almost like Gladiator when Maximus is walking through the little tunnel there,
Mhm.
and all the blood is dripping on him. The gods favor you.
Are you not entertained? Oh, well, I can't wait for the sequel on that as far as what they're going to be doing for that one. Ridley Scott has in mind, but we'll wait and see. It is, again, the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. We'll be coming back with more stuff tomorrow. And of course, game 1 is tomorrow. So please join us. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for all the fun. And of course, the post game talking about what happened in game 1 as only we can deliver to you right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.